Welcome to Xiao Voice. Continuing from the previous episode 205. Everyone in the examination room looked at the gray-clothed, old woman who was unable to even last for one exchange against Xiao Yan. Some cold sweat surfaced on their foreheads. Xiao Yan had attacked suddenly, and he did not hold back because of the other party's status. He could be considered ruthless. Han Li's face was similarly a little stunned. He only bitterly smiled and shook his head a moment later before glancing at Xiao Yan. This fellow was not as gentle as he looked when he became ruthless. Deacon Han, I'm sorry to fight in this place. Xiao Yan's eyes indifferently glanced at the gray-clothed, old woman who had collapsed on the ground. After which, he turned his eyes to Han Li. That warm smile from earlier once again appeared on his face as he spoke apologetically. When everyone saw this smile once again appearing on Xiao Yan's face, no one in the room dared to threaten him as a little sheep whom they could randomly mock. This was predominantly true for those three members of the Bai clan. They took a couple of cautious steps back, afraid that Xiao Yan would suddenly attack them. Even the gray-clothed, old woman was no match for Xiao Yan, much less the few of them. Oh, Han Li sighed. A moment later, he could only wave his hand and say, she can be considered to have reaped what she sowed with regards to this matter. However, your attack is a little too merciless. Forget it, Bai Wei, bring your people and leave. The white-clothed, cold lady clenched her silver teeth upon hearing this. Her eyes were a little terrified as she glanced at Xiao Yan. She led the other two members of the Bai clan. They lifted up the gray-clothed, old woman, who was lying unconscious on the ground after spitting out some blood. After which, they left this examination room in a somewhat miserable manner. The three people from the Qi clan by the side also did not wish to stay in this place any longer. Their eyes glanced at Xiao Yan with alarm and uncertainty before they withdrew. You little fellow, you really just attack as you wish. Although I feel extremely refreshed in my heart, the Bai clan will definitely not let this matter rest in the future. Yi Zhang could not help but shake his head after seeing the others leaving in a dispirited manner. Xiao Yan smiled and replied, it's fine. If the Bai clan wishes to find trouble with me, I will just have to accompany them. KK. Looks like the Yi clan is very confident in passing the test this time around. Yi Zhang, congratulations. Han Li slowly stepped forward, cupped his hand to Yi Zhang, and congratulated with a smile. I shall borrow your auspicious words. However, with this matter having occurred, the Bai clan might really send out an expert when the test of the 5 great clans begins. Their intentions will be to force our Yi clan out of the top 3 spot. Yi Zhang bitterly laughed. Yes, there is this possibility. The Bai clan has long disliked your Yi clan. They will definitely not hold back if they can add insult to injury. Han Li also frowned slightly and nodded. He said, from what I am aware of, the most outstanding person among the younger generation of the Bai clan is a young man named Bai Ying. This person is not even 20 but he has already reached the Tier 7 middle grade level. Moreover, he has remained at this level for 3 years. If the Bai clan were to send him, it is likely that your Yi clan would find it difficult to enter the top 3. Bai Ying, I have heard of this person. He can be considered someone who possesses a great amount of talent in medicinal refinement. Even Cao Dan from the Cao clan is much poorer than him. Yi Zhang's expression was a little solemn. If this Bai clan were really going to send out Bai Ying, the situation would end up a little unpredictable. Other than the Yi clan, the other 4 great clans among the 5 great clans were all extraordinary. They did not lack talents comparable to Cao Dan in terms of pill refinement. These people had a great reputation even when placed within the pill region. Even though the Yi clan had Xiao Yan's help this time around, it was still not an easy matter for it to obtain the top 3 spot. The matter today had completely offended the Bai clan. Additionally, they had offended the Cao clan some time earlier. Therefore, these 2 clans would definitely send out some troublesome competitors to obstruct the Yi clan. As for the Dan clan, this clan might keep a low profile, but they always steadily alternated between the top or second spot in every test. However, no one had ever seen them falling to 3rd place. Hence, this Dan clan would also be a hidden competitor. Thus, the top 3 spots were basically occupied by the Cao clan, the Dan clan, and the Bai clan. It would not be easy for the Yi clan to squeeze in. Forget it, there is no need to form such a headache. Since things have already developed to such an extent, we can only leave everything up to fate. Han Li comforted when he saw Yi Zhang's vexed appearance. His gaze immediately turned to Xiao Yan as he laughed. Moreover, the helper that your Yi clan has invited this time around is also not an ordinary person. He might even be comparable to these geniuses from the 3 clans. Yi Zhang only smiled upon hearing this. He sighed. Currently, I can only place all my hopes on him. The survival of the Yi clan will be determined by this test. Xiao Yan and Yi Zhang said their goodbyes to Han Li after remaining in the branch tower for some time. The both of them randomly roamed the outer region of the Holy Pill City. With the approaching pill gathering, the Holy Pill City's crowds were also becoming terrifying. Whether it was day or even night, the entire city was so noisy that it could shake the sky. Moreover, with the increases in human traffic, all sorts of people would naturally be mixed among them. Some strange items also began to spread through this place. There was no lack of genuine treasures among them. Of course, this was only the case if one's eyesight was sufficiently good. Yi Zhang finally stopped Xiao Yan, who had wanted to continue roaming about, when the sky was gradually becoming dark. Forget it. If you wish to search for treasures, the alchemist trade fair that will be held the day after will truly be an eye-opener for you. The things there are mostly extraordinary. If you are lucky, you might even be able to obtain an unexpected treasure. Xiao Yan helplessly nodded after hearing Yi Zhang's words. Back then, he had randomly obtained the Skyfire 3 mysterious change from a trade fair. Unfortunately, it seemed that he currently did not possess such good luck. Yi Zhang led the both of them out of the trade area after seeing Xiao Yan withdraw his mind. After which, they hurried back to the Yi clan. Night gradually spread across the sky and once again covered the Holy Pill City. The bright stars lit the empty sky above. They flickered one after another, causing the sky to appear brilliant. Xiao Yan stood with his hands behind him in a quiet courtyard. His body was just like a sculpture as he stood under the endlessly vast starry sky. From the looks of the frost that had appeared on his hair, it seemed that he had already stood at the spot for quite a while. This bitter standing continued for another hour or so before Xiao Yan finally opened his tightly shut eyes. His eyebrows came together. I am unable to enter the condition from last night this time around. Oh, it looks like I can only rely on chance. Xiao Yan softly sighed. He had been thinking that if he could enter that condition a couple more times, he would be able to increase the density of the spiritual aura within his soul, and his soul might be able to advance to that so-called soul state at some point in time. At that time, refining a Tier 7 high-grade medicinal pill would no longer pose much of a problem to Xiao Yan. If he were in his peak condition, he might even be able to challenge a Tier 8 medicinal pill. At that time, Xiao Yan would have the confidence to stand above everyone else even in the pill gathering. However, this kind of thinking was too misty. The condition from last night was one that he could meet but not desire. No matter how Xiao Yan calmed his heart, the starry sky appeared just like everywhere else, becoming ordinary. It seems that I must go and take a look at the so-called alchemist trade fair the day after tomorrow. It would be best if I am able to obtain something to train my soul there. Xiao Yan shook his head and finally gave up this futile effort. He let out a bitter laugh, turned around, and entered his room. Since he had already planned on participating in the alchemist trade fair, he would need to prepare some things that could attract others. Otherwise, even if someone else's thing caught his eye, it was likely that he would have to quietly give up if he was unable to take out something that the other party was satisfied with. Xiao Yan completely locked himself within his room during the next day. The little fairy doctor and the others did not disturb him. In any case, by looking at the hot air that spread from his room, all of them could guess that Xiao Yan was perhaps refining something again. Xiao Yan hid in his room and refined for 1 day and 1 night. Only when the first rays of morning sun cut through the darkness and shot into this small courtyard the next morning did the tightly shut door slowly open. Xiao Yan walked out of the room. He took in a violent gasp of fresh air. The corner of his mouth parted into a smile as he rubbed his storage ring. Although he was a little pressed for time, it was fortunate that he still had some remaining stores from before. In a manner of speaking, he could be considered quite a wealthy person. Yi Zhang, the little fairy doctor, Tianhuo Zunjie, and Xin Lan were already standing outside when Xiao Yan left his room and entered the courtyard. They were all looking at him with smiles. He, are you ready? Yi Zhang involuntarily laughed when he saw Xiao Yan's manner. Xiao Yan smiled and nodded. After which, he waved his hand and said, "Let's go and take a look at just how great this Holy Pill City's alchemist trade fair is." After saying this, Xiao Yan swiftly walked out of the courtyard. After which, he walked in the direction of the alchemist trade fair that Yi Zhang had mentioned 2 days ago. The little fairy doctor and the rest grinned behind him and followed behind at a steady pace. They were also somewhat interested in this so-called alchemist trade fair,